Okay, I think we're good to go.
Okay, ready?
Yes, ma'am.
No time, everybody. All right, welcome everybody to the Lake Bluff Village Board Trustees meeting. It is July 27th, the year is 2020. And could we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Anchorman. Here. Trustee Sherlow.
Present.
Trustee Dewart. Trustee Murphy. Here. Trustee Meyer.
Here.
Trustee Toll.
Here.
All right, would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I neglected at the beginning of this meeting, which I will say because we are holding virtual meetings and we do have some protocols with that. So due to the COVID-19 emergency, this meeting will be held primarily virtually. As required by law, at least one representative from the village will be present at Village Hall, and the virtual meeting will be simulcast for all members of the public who do not wish to view the virtual meetings from another location. The board meeting can accommodate 13 people, including members of the public body and village staff, while maintaining the 6 feet of social distance between individuals required by Executive Order 2020-43. Accordingly, the opportunity to view the virtual meeting in Village Hall is available on a first-come, first-served basis. Members of the public may view and participate in the meeting via online, which is strongly recommended, lakebluff.org/virtual meeting, or you can dial in 312-626-6799, enter meeting ID 888-1619-0394, and press pound when prompted for a participant ID. Also, additional instructions are available in the agenda packet immediately following the agenda. Also, will be live streamed at lakebluff.org, which is channel 19, and broadcast live on Camcast channel 19. All right, so here we go. We have the consideration of the minutes of the July 13th, 2020 Village Board regular meeting. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Toll and second by Mrs. Marquis. Any comments, corrections?
Just want to clarify that I did send out earlier today, I circulated some minutes that reflected some, I would say, non-substantive comments and typos.
All right.
Make sure everybody's understanding which ones they're voting on.
We are voting on the revised minutes. Are you clear with that? All righty, roll call, please.
Trustee Anchorman. Aye. Trustee Sherlow.
Aye.
Trustee Dewart.
Okay, Mike's not working.
Yeah, Mark,
Aye.
thank you.
Trustee Murphy. Aye. Trustee Meyer.
Aye.
Trustee Toll.
Aye.
All right, the agenda is pretty light, so I don't think we really have to change the agenda, order of that agenda today. But we also have an opportunity for anyone to speak tonight, any visitor, or to comment on anything that is not on tonight's agenda. Do we have anybody so far that has expressed a desire to comment? No? Okay. We have the village finance report for July 16th to 31st, 2020. Do I have a motion to approve the warrant report?
So moved.
Okay, so moved by Ms. Anchorman. Do I have
Second.
and second by Mr. Charlot. Expenditures of village funds for payment of invoices in the amount of $224,138.47 for July 16th to 31st, 2020. Any comments or questions to our finance director regarding the warrant report tonight? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Sherlow.
Aye.
Trustee Dewart.
Aye.
Trustee Markey. Aye. Trustee Meyer.
Aye.
Trustee Toll.
Aye.
Trustee Ankerman.
Aye.
We now have the financial report for June 2020. Do I have a motion to receive that report?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Cole. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Mr. Charlot. Could I ask the Director of Finance to give the salient points on this?
Sure. Good evening. April sales tax revenues of 2004-260 received and posted to fiscal year 20 for an annual total of $3,250,184. The monthly revenue on a cash basis for fiscal year 20 is $22,869, or 0.7% less than fiscal year 19. Building permit revenue for May fiscal year 21 is $60,860. The May through June fiscal year 21 expenditures of $1,442,620 are $246,735 less than the expenditures for the same period of fiscal year 20, and current expenditures are consistent with or less than budget. Also of note, in the finance report was an additional chart that provided general fund revenues forecasted versus actual, just to give a snapshot of the forecasted adjustments that were reviewed and discussed at finance committee level, and where those general fund revenues lie current year to date compared to year to date from last year. Some of the notable facts: Lake County Board has authorized the deferral of property tax payments, so we see slightly less revenue in property tax, and the state has granted a 2-month deferral of sales tax payment, which has created a larger lag in the revenue receiving there. Have not received anything this fiscal year yet.
All right. Does anyone have any comments or questions for Finance Director?
Bettina, would it be correct to say that although there is a time lag by the end of our fiscal year, with the year end being end of April, we should be caught up in terms of property tax, and sales tax will probably continue to lag a little?
Yeah, sales tax will likely continue to lag because they were granted a 2-month deferral in businesses receiving that funds to the state, and then there's normally a 2 to 3 month lag. So we're probably looking at 4 to 5 months before we see receipts for the first month in the fiscal year.
Thank you.
The question then becomes, when will they catch up?
Yeah.
Bettina, the county has just stated they have $10 million from the CARES Act to distribute to municipalities and fire protection districts.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean for us exactly? Can you give us an update on that? And then, and also today, which came out today on the 27th, is an additional $35 million to municipalities and fire protection districts. So do we have any idea of what we're talking about in terms of reimbursement?
Sure. So those reimbursements, the first round of that 10 million, 9 million being for municipal and 1 for fire protection districts, is based on a per capita basis. So based on population, we are, our cap is $82,250. I can far exceed those expenses to date already, so we should meet that cap.
So yes.
So we should meet that cap number. I don't know if there'll be a change to the formula calculations to increase that for a second round, but they certainly have funds that they could distribute. So we'll see what happens. They're talking another round of distributions at the end of October.
That's a great preview for item number 11 in tonight's agenda. Interesting.
Yes,
interesting note is one of the issues is right now, if municipalities like Lake Bluff that have component units of government, for example, the library, we are being told to apply, and the library is being directed by the county to apply underneath the village or as part of the village's application. Clearly, we already far exceed the number that we would seek reimbursement for, and so there may come a time when the village may be asked to make a determination of how the library fits into that, because again, all of our services that we've provided and all of our needs during this pandemic have been significant and already, as noted again on the cover memo that is in front of you tonight for item 11, far exceed the per capita expense that we've already been allotted. So that's before the library's numbers are included. So, food for thought.
Yes, it'd be interesting. And this, as I understand it, this CARES Act only covers receipts for reimbursement, not for lost revenue. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to item number 7A, the village administrator's report.
Madam President, we should accept the report.
Oh, I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. I didn't do that. Could we have a roll call for that?
Trustee Dewar.
Aye.
Trustee Markey. Aye. Trustee Meyer.
Aye.
Trustee Toll.
Aye.
Trustee Ankerman.
Aye.
Trustee Sherlow.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll now go on to the village administrator's report. There is a request from the Park District to waive building permit fees for 4 projects, which let me get the first and second for this, and then you might want to elaborate a little bit on that, Drew. Do I have a motion for that, please?
So moved.
The move by Mr. Toll. Do I have a second?
Second.
And the second by Mr. Meyer. I will read this, and then Drew, you can take it from there. The Lakeville Park District is requesting permit fee waivers for 4 projects they are planning to do this year. The projects are the Blair parking lot resurfacing, the Sunrise Beach pavers and stairs, Artesian Park drainage, and Sunrise Park wood retaining wall replacement. The total construction cost for the 4 projects is expected to be approximately $563,593. If a waiver is not approved, the total permit fees would be $6,105. Similar requests have been considered in the past on a case-by-case basis for the Park District and other nonprofit and governmental organizations. Village Finance Committee has discussed a proposed policy in which only requests over $1,000 would be considered. Consideration of this request would be in keeping with that policy. Drew, do you want to elaborate on any of this?
Yeah, I guess really to clarify, it's been a practice more than a policy. We've talked about establishing a policy for a number of years and haven't done so, and been taking on one by one here. But yeah, this is a sum total with a permit fee or just above $6,100 for those 4 different projects. Speaking earlier today with board members, I think I heard from more than one the idea that the village would not want to face a situation where we would be facing out-of-pocket costs and not having those recovered. And so I didn't get a chance to speak with Mike or Jeff about this, but based off what I'm seeing here, I think really the only possible project that we potentially incur out-of-pocket expenses would be the Sunrise Beach pavers and stairs. We may have a certified arborist or some other tree specialist help us with that. But otherwise, I think all these would be in-house. Is that correct, Mike?
Yes, that's right.
What would be the total cost of, from our standpoint, if it is in-house expenses, Mike and Drew?
I think the projects are relatively simple in terms of the review required and inspections. So I think we're probably talking just a 2 or 3 hours of staff time per project, really.
Okay, any other questions? All right, no other comments or things from the trustees?
No, I have a quick question.
Sure.
You don't really know what that out-of-pocket number is, or even if it's going to be necessary. Would it be something to consider such that if we have to hire an arborist or a civil engineer, that those types of expenses would be reimbursed? Is that feasible, or do we have to know that type of number ahead of time and just estimate it and say X would be, all would be forgiven but X, and X represents the estimate of our out-of-pocket?
I don't think we even need the number, Trustee Ankerman. I think we can certainly, if the board's direction is to waive the fees as requested, provided that the village doesn't face any out-of-pocket expenses, that's all it would need to be, and we could capture that from the Park District if necessary.
I think
Could
that's
we,
a reasonable request.
could we also alter that proposal, Drew, to be, you said $1,000 in the text here, but could we make it that actually if our costs, if it is about 12 hours, as Mike was describing, if it is 12 hours, it might be slightly above $1,000, let's say. Can we make it at cost so that, well, we're nice, but we're also responsible to ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, you're completely in the driver's seat to the extent you wish to waive it. I think, again, historically, the village's any in-house labor that was already perceived as an expense we're already facing. So any idea, like we had to hire an outside consultant, then that's what we would seek repayment for. But certainly, it's within your realm to do that if that's something you want to do.
My opinion in this case is that these are improvements that our residents will truly benefit from more than anybody else. In other projects, particularly the one that came up a couple of weeks ago, where we voted to waive the fees, those benefits really were spread out among a lot more people, whereas these proposed projects will truly benefit our residents. So I'm comfortable in waiving all fees, especially if it's time that our own staff will be doing. I can understand getting on board with if we do have to get an outside consultant and start spending additional monies to do that.
I'm in agreement with Aaron, and my motion at least would be that we waive all fees on the condition that we are reimbursed for any outside vendor we must hire, such as the arborist. Thank you.
Anybody else want to?
I agree with that. I agree with Bill's motion.
I'll support that as well.
Okay, anybody else? All right, as amended by Bill's suggestion there, we waive all fees with the exception of anything that we have to obtain outside help for. Okay, on that note, roll call, please.
Trustee Markey. Aye. Trustee Meyer.
Aye.
Trustee Toll.
Aye.
Trustee Ankman.
Aye.
Trustee Sherlow.
Aye.
Trustee Dewar.
Aye.
All right, we now have an informational report regarding the Robert Mcclory Bike Trail Bridge Replacement Project and Village Hall landscape improvements. Do I have a motion to accept this report?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Dewar. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Ankerman. Regarding the bridge replacement project. This $239,000 project is funded by the village, county, and state, and staff is hoping for a fall installation, but material availability could push the project to spring. Architectural Board of Review, Lake County, Department of Transportation, and the state have approved the bridge design, and our project partners are ready to proceed. Before the village finalizes these bid documents, village engineer Jeff Hansen will review the final design and construction details with the board tonight. All right, let's take that one first before we go to the village one. Drew, do you want to take it from here, or Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff is prepared to share his screen with us. And Jeff, you are ready, yes?
Yes, I just need permission to share my screen. And there it is. Okay. Is that visible for everybody?
Yes.
Okay, now it is, yeah.
Okay. So this page illustrates the project limits. You can see a little bit north of the bridge, short of where the steps come up to the train station, closed over the bridge, and then a little further to the south. And the reason why we're doing more asphalt work on the south side of the bridge is that the slopes of the existing path going south of the bridge are too steep for ADA compliance, so we have to go a little further till we can meet existing grade. We will take out a couple of trees on the north side, replace the bridge, and do the asphalt work. What Drew was talking about, availability of materials, I'm not sure. The supply chain's a little messed up right now, so I'll put this out to bids here shortly after this meeting and see when the contractor can get all the stuff he needs. There's just a few different materials with the precast beams. There's some poured concrete. There's some metal lettering. A lot of different things that could be unavailable at this time. So we'll see how that goes once we get a contractor. The specifications as written, we talked about allowing them to do some of this work overnight. They're going to have to close Scranton down as they remove the old deck beams and put the new beams on for their precast beams for the bridge. So the way we have it written right now is that with village permission, they could close Scranton in the underpass between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. And that would probably be 2 or 3 days for removal and 2 or 3 days then later on for putting up the new bridge. If they choose to work during the day, we're only going to let them close one lane and have flaggers. And they can only do that between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. So they'd be missing the peak travel times and school buses, if school buses are running at that time. And they'd have to open up by 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So that is, as it's written now, is the contractor's discretion for closing the road. We will detour the trail traffic through the village green, around the path around the public safety building, and then back across the street up at Sheridan where the cutoff road comes through. The trail would be closed for about 60 days as they do this work, and it'll always be a little frustrating because there'll be periods of inactivity while the trail is closed and then flurries of activity, but we feel like about 60 days is the right amount of time for them to do everything they need to do to get the bridge back open and it paved. We are looking into right now, if this is done, say in February, hot mix asphalt is not available at that time. It's not available until about April. The plant shut down from the end of November to usually beginning of April, whenever the weather allows in the spring. There is asphalt work you see on the path on each side of the bridge, and the bridge surface is precast concrete planks with asphalt over the top. So they're looking to see if there's a way to, if this is done midwinter, to open it back up and then come back in the spring when asphalt's available again and do the final paving. The other part that we wanted to point out tonight was the lettering. So the ABR looked at this. They had some question about the letter spacing of the word path, but we will make sure that's equal when it comes in. This decoration and this lettering would only be on the west side of the bridge, because the east side, your vision is obscured by the Sheridan Road Bridge. So this would only be on the west side. I guess the other thing I had to say was they also have to put up signs at least a week before all closures to notify people the date of the closure. And that's what I had. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I had a concern about the lettering. When you look at the diagram, it looks like the large letters are 1 foot 6 inches high. The smaller letters are 1 foot 4 inches high. And I went to drive under the bridge today and noticed that there was a wayfinding sign above the path that said Sheridan Road, and there's an arrow so that when you go under the bridge, you veer right to get back up to Sheridan Road. And I don't know exactly how large those letters are. I'm guessing about 8 inches. So we have a wayfinding sign that is being really dominated by this naming sign. And if I'm on the bike path, this doesn't help me get to the bike path. The purpose of this isn't to say, hey, this is where the school is. You're driving around trying to find a school. Here's the school, or here's the village hall. It's just a descriptive sign, a nice to have kind of sign. And it's, when I also compared it to the Village of Lake Bluff signage, it dwarfs any of the Village of Lake Bluff, the actual verbiage that says Lake Bluff. And it just seems out of proportion. It's like the Village of the Robert Mcclory bike path, not the Village of Lake Bluff. So there's nothing, I think the letters are beautiful. I think the font is lovely. I have nothing against the name of it. It just seems like it's really dominating the entrance to our village, and it distracts from true wayfinding signage. I don't know if anybody else has additional input. Those were my thoughts, and I was concerned that it really just seems to dominate the main entrance to our village coming east on 176.
You know, I have a similar concern from obscuring basically Lake Bluff. This is the same signage that is on the, when you get off Lake Forest, there's a bridge that is right below Sheridan Road. And actually this is the same size of lettering, of fonts, but those are in concrete, I believe. I mean, the question I have following what you're saying, Barbie, is could we have smaller letter instead of 20 inches, literally, to have it in a smaller size, Drew?
Jeff, could you walk that? That was one of the original ideas, was to have smaller signage, but there was concerns, I thought, with it just it being functional and legible. Is that right?
I think that originally we had shown it saying Lake Bluff, and I think the ABR had a concern about Lake Bluff starts a mile or so to the west of here, and didn't want to make it look like this was the entrance to Lake Bluff. So they preferred the name of the bike path on the sign. When it was just Lake Bluff, those 9 letters don't take up so much space, even at this scale. But when they went to Robert Mcclory Bike Path, now it's spanning, the whole bridge. And it's one of the things, I guess, if you have input on, that's what we're looking to do, because this is our chance to change it if we need to change it.
I've got a question. Why do we even need this?
I was going to ask the same question.
Yeah, we have modest signage through most of our town, on purpose. And, I have actually a lot of respect for Robert Mcclory. However, I don't see the necessity for this. I think I hate to use the word tacky, but I just don't see this. I don't think it adds to the aesthetics or the ambiance of our community that we're trying to always do.
And I think we could have some cost savings as well. I don't know that it will be significant, but.
I think another question that needs to be asked, and I don't know, is I'm going to guess that this may have something to do with branding and how the county is managing their bike paths. And we're looking at a very small piece of all of this and not at what their bigger picture might be. However large or small or what have you that it might be, it is Lake Bluff. It's not Lake Bluff. It says Mcclory. It doesn't say Lake Bluff. Those kinds of things. Probably the bigger question is, what are on the other bridges that the county is putting in place?
Well, the county didn't require that there be a name.
Right, that's my understanding too. This, and I don't know how it ever really, who put this on here and got this affixed. It's not, it is my understanding this is not a county requirement. And therefore it really boils down to what this village board wishes. So let me, I know how Barbara feels. Everybody knows how I feel. I think, Aaron, you voiced your opinion. How about everybody else?
I do, and I've got one more comment. If in the future the county does decide to want to do some sort of universal branding for its bike paths and bridges that we have in the county, would it make more sense to leave it off for now instead of put something like that on and then have to change it and then risk having the outline of the old letters to deal with?
Yeah, and just to clarify, this is not part of the county's signage program. This is something that, again, started with staff suggesting maybe it should say Lake Bluff on it, and then that's how it evolved over time after reaching the ABR. I mean, Jeff, did the state or the county have any comments regarding the signage at all?
No.
Or communication? No? Okay.
And neither of those parties required it or requested it, correct?
And did the ABR discuss not doing any signage at all, or were they? trying to decide between two different signs.
Defer to Mike Croak on that. I don't know if Mike, if you can weigh in on that.
You know, I don't recall them having very much specific discussion about the option of not having signage, but I think they did understand that that would be a choice available for them to recommend.
Okay.
All right, does any other trustee wish to weigh in?
Yeah, I'm inclined to go with the rest of you and not have the sign, but I would want to raise one issue for us to consider, and that is my question of whether we somehow would help promote the sport of biking, particularly in reference to our hosting of the criterium, by having some reference to the fact that we have this wonderful bike path going through town. That's the only question I'd raise. I do agree generally with everybody else who said it, who's really said it's big, it's tacky, it's not in the character of Lake Bluff, but I do want to raise the question of whether it would help promote something that's so important to us in that regard, what everybody thinks about that.
Well, I don't know, but living downtown, I will tell you, we have been discovered by the bikers.
No question. No question.
Yeah, so I don't think that that's really an issue. We have a very well-known bike path all through Lake County, all the way down to Chicago. So I don't think that that's it. And if the consensus, and I don't want to rush it, but if the consensus is that we really don't need this and it really doesn't fit our concept of a Lake Bluff signage and branding, can I take it that we would not, as a board, just not have signage on that?
Get rid of it, I'm okay.
Yep.
We'll support that as well.
I just wanted to, I haven't made a comment yet, but I agree with everyone that the sign as it is kind of big and cumbersome and not necessary. But, if we wanted to put something up there that was sort of representative of Lake Bluff, we could always put something up there like welcome, which, just a thought. I'm okay with no sign. I don't need a sign up there at all, but if we wanted to kind of tie into the spirit of Lake Bluff, we try to be welcoming. Coming under that bridge is sort of an entrance into East Lake Bluff, and just a thought. But I'm happy with no sign.
We could put profiles of dogs up there.
All right, okay, so
Kathy, I would suggest that we just eliminate the signage.
okay, that's my intent, my inclination, but I want to make sure everyone else is they're okay with it.
I just had one comment. If we are going to really go against the recommendation, because this is part of the overall recommendation from the ABR, is there something procedurally we could do besides just saying nay to this one particular part that would be more of a conversation instead of us just putting our foot down, or do we just want to say no?
Well, I think timing is kind of key right now.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't know how wedded was the ABR to this sign.
Side comment to that sign as well. I happen to be part of a group of runners, and when I'm on that path actually quite a lot, way too much for my own good anyways. And I see that path as used as much by runners and walkers and bikers. And so that to call it a bike path is misleading in some ways. I mean, this is a side comment, this is a detail, but I don't actually think the sign fits.
All right, so I don't want to belabor too much more. Then is there agreement that we would drop the sign?
I would amend the motion to do so.
Yeah. Okay, we amended the motion.
Second.
Thank you. All righty, this would, we'll hold off on this part and let's talk about the second one, and then we'll do this all together, which is the Village Hall landscaping improvements. In November 2007, the Village Board approved a streetscape concept plan for the Central Business District. Over the years, the village has made slow progress with the installation of improvements consistent with the plan. As you may recall, the Lake Bluff 125 Committee has planned to donate the installation of certain Village Hall landscape elements just south of the fountain, and is ending it and the fundraising is ending soon. LB 125 volunteer Joy Marquis and Village Administrator Irvin will provide a brief presentation regarding this project and answer any questions from the board. I will turn it over to you guys.
Okay, great. So this is, I said slowly, I mean, the village over the years has done, the first thing that was done was actually, I think, readjusting the street of Center Avenue and Scranton, where it marries together in front of the firehouse. That was one of the first things that was done from this plan. And then some of the knuckles around the village were done in the central business district to reduce the walking distance of pedestrians. And then Block 1 went in, and that took on all the aspects of the streetscape plan. And one of the things we learned from that over the years was that this plan that was adopted as the concept plan involved a lot of bluestone, which we have learned does not weather well in our environment. And we have decided to steer away from that. The drawing that I'm showing you and sharing with everybody, this large area that's kind of like shaped like a horn or a very obscure triangle, is set out to be bluestone. But keeping with our practice of, or I guess what we've identified as a problem, we would not want to make that improvement to that degree, but would rather pursue brick. And so the Lake Bluff 125 group has set out to do that very thing and find a fundraiser to install this area, this new pedway area with brick, and along with a bench here. And I'll let Joy carry the rest of this, since she has been leading this project with the Lake 125 committee.
Thanks, Drew. So not a whole lot more to add, because Drew kind of pretty succinctly talked about it. But the on this drawing, I just wanted to point out, because this drawing was from 2007, so we're doing a little bit. It's going to actually be a little different. There's a sidewalk that kind of runs through the center of the drawing that you can't see because it looks like bricks, but the sidewalk will remain right there, and the bricks will actually be just south. That would be like southwest of the sidewalk. So we're not going to take that sidewalk out, and that helps. Everything will be level, and it'll help with ADA and all kinds of things like that. So it'll be easy for people to get through there. So they can walk on the bricks, or they can take the sidewalk. The bricks themselves, some of them will be engraved. So that's been the fundraiser part that we've been doing for the 125. And we've had great response to the engraved bricks. Lots of residents sending in orders for bricks. And so we'll have some engraved bricks in there. And because of that fundraiser, we're able to cover the costs and install. It'll be a gift from the 125 committee. We got a sponsorship from Pasquazi for it, and we also have Krugel Cobbles, which is a local Lake Bluff company. They've been around forever, and they're helping us with the excavation, the grading, and the actual installation of the bricks. So I have actually learned a lot about bricks in the last few months. The area that you see, I guess it would be just sort of northeast of the bricks, all the landscaping in between the fountain and where the walkway would be. We're working on getting that donated. We're hoping to get that section donated. And then the section just, I guess it would be southwest where the bench is. The bench is down here. The bench is will look like the benches in Artesian Park. We're going to use the same supplier as the Park District. So the benches will be metal, powder-coated benches, and it'll be black, so it'll match the lamp post right there. And that's kind of where we're at. We're looking at hopefully to install in October, early October. It's a little bit dependent on if we can get the bricks in time because of COVID right now. We may have a little issue with getting the materials on time, but we're hoping not.
Joy, how many bricks have we sold? 125 sold.
At this point, we've sold almost 200 bricks.
That's great.
So yeah, I mean, I'm just so impressed with how residents respond when we do fundraisers like this. They really, They really do a nice job.
There, you know, the 125 committee is actually responsible for a lot of improvements around the village this year. It has been a big boon, you know, everything from Dogs on the Bluff to the installation of historical markers that will be around town, and you know, other planned things. It's been a great addition. So all of you that are working on the 125, many thanks. And then this will all continue, and then by next year, everyone will be ready, hopefully, to have a big party. All right, so any other comments on this one? And I would ask for us this is just a simple acceptance of the report. So I think we could just, at this point, all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye, okay,
Aye.
thank you. All right, so moving,
That message was loud and clear regarding the signage. No signage on the bridge.
you got that, huh? Good, so glad. Okay. All right,
Village
so-
President, can we just make sure that there were no votes on either of those issues?
Okay, all right. Are there any nay votes for either one of those, whether it is the signage on the bridge or the bricks?
Okay, so it can be recorded
It's
as unanimous.
Yes, it is
Thank you.
unanimous. Thank you. All right, if we're moving right along, anything else on the village administrator's report tonight?
No, ma'am.
All right, sir, we have the village attorney's report.
Nothing to report. I'll comment on your motion when we get there on the agenda.
Okay, thank you very much. All righty, we now go to the village president's report. And asking for extension of the village president's declaration of civil emergency, which would extend that declaration to the next board meeting. This will be about, what, fourth or fifth time? So I don't think I have to explain it too much anymore. Do I have a motion to extend?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Meyer and second by Mr. Dewart. Any questions? All right. Can I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Meyer,
Aye.
Trustee Toll,
Aye.
Trustee Ankerman,
Hi.
Trustee Charlo,
Aye.
Trustee Dewart,
Aye.
Trustee Markey. Aye.
Just to add one more thing, we have had, it looks like a little publicity on 2 TV stations. One of them was WGN and the other is ABC, both on our Dogs on Parade, which seem to be making a big hit all around the area. And we keep getting requests, because I get all the requests that go to the museum. For people want to buy, more people want to buy dogs than we have dogs. Many times. But that has been a really a highlight of the summer, and to see the kids and the adults going around and petting the dogs and everything else has been a treat. Okay, on that one. So let's move on. And we now have the acceptance of the correspondence. We will accept all correspondence was delivered to the Village Board of Trustees and the informational reports on July 10th and 17th. Do I have a motion to accept the correspondence?
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Madam Ms. Marquis. And a second? What's that?
Second.
Okay, to Charlo. All righty, thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Okay, now we get to item number 11, which we sort of briefly discussed. I've kind of jumped the gun because when I asked about the CARES money. A resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement by and between the Village of Lake Bluff and the County of Lake, which is the CARES Act reimbursement. Do I have a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
So moved, I believe by Mr. Meyer and second by Mr. Dewart. The Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act, CARES Act, provides for payment to local governments to reimburse expenses caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. For Lake County, the federal government has provided approximately $122 million to the county that the county may, in turn, used to reimburse other units of local government for their eligible expenses. The attached intergovernmental agreement will allow the village to receive CARES Act funds from the county. Due to demand, the county expects to limit the village's reimbursement to $81,250 based on a per capita formula. The village has incurred $82,982.99 in direct expenses as of July 22nd. This does not include any COVID-19 related spending for public safety salary expenses, other staff salary expenses, or the Lake Bluff Library's direct or indirect expenses incurred. Some or all of this other spending categories may be reimbursed subject to the county's guidelines and the availability of funds. As was reported this afternoon, we received a email from the county allocating another $35 million to municipal and to fire protection districts. Does anyone have any questions? Drew, do you want to comment further on this? Anyone else?
I had a quick question about the library. Do we have an understanding of the library's expenses at this point, Drew?
They gave us a ballpark of, I think it was at $20,000, Bettina?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So I would say my guess is that other communities or municipalities that have component governments probably review their activities of public safety and responses probably taken precedent over library services. So if there comes down to if there's a dollar for dollar allocation, my guess is that the village would choose 100% of the dollars rather than to give the library money. But that's maybe a discussion you guys can have later, but my gut would tell me that most municipalities with component units that were providing public safety services during the COVID period would say those are our dollars.
Okay. Well, I think you made a good point in terms of maybe having this discussion later, because we don't know the impact of how much of perhaps of that $35 million would be allocated to us. That may change the thinking, whatever. So my suggestion is it's really rather premature to have that discussion at this point, unless someone disagrees. No? Okay. All righty. This would be any other questions or comments? Let's have a roll call, please.
Trustee Toll.
Aye.
Trustee Ankelman.
Aye.
Trustee Sherlock.
Aye.
Trustee Dewart.
Aye.
Trustee Markey. Aye. Trustee Meyer.
Aye.
Okay, item number 12, which is a resolution honoring the public service of Fire Department member Dave Anderson. Do I have a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Toll. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Ankerman, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Anderson has served the community as a volunteer firefighter for almost 30 years. Because his service and devotion to the village and its fire operations have proven to be an enormous benefit to the village and to the residents in numerous ways, it is recommended that Mr. Anderson's service be memorialized via a resolution of the Village of Lake Bluff Board of Trustees. The resolution that is attached with that, which I shall read at this time. Whereas Dave Anderson has loyally and faithfully served the Lake Bluff Fire Department and the citizens of Lake Bluff for 27 years. And whereas in March 1993, Dave Anderson assumed the duties of firefighter for the Lake Bluff Fire Department, and whereas throughout the contributions of Dave Anderson to the Lake Bluff Firemen's Association and the Lake Bluff Fire Department, providing services and programs to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the village of Lake Bluff. And whereas Dave Anderson is a public safety professional who has demonstrated outstanding commitment to the village of Lake Bluff and its residents for 27 years, including participation in several hundred training hours, throughout which he has maintained a positive attitude and a sense of purpose befitting a committed professional. Now therefore be it resolved by the village president and board of trustees of the Village of Lake Bluff, County of Lake, and State of Illinois, that the Village of Lake Bluff hereby recognizes Dave Anderson for his numerous significant and outstanding contributions to the Lake Bluff Fire Department and its residents, and such recognition and the gratitude of the Village of Lake Bluff be publicly expressed to Dave Anderson for his significant and outstanding contributions to the Lake Bluff Fire Department, and that this resolution be incorporated in the minutes of this proceeding, and that executed copy of the resolution be delivered to Dave Anderson, and dated to this day, the 27th day of July, 2020. Thank him for his service very much. All right, I believe we need a roll call. Yeah, it's always a little harder to do this on this, with this venue. We need to have a roll call, please.
Trustee Ankelman.
Aye.
Trustee Sherlow.
Aye.
Trustee Dewar.
Aye.
Trustee Markey.
Aye.
Trustee Meyer.
Aye.
Trustee Toll.
Aye.
Trustees report. Do any of the trustees have something they wish to discuss this evening? All righty, we are now, I'd like to have a motion to go into executive session to,
The motion would be to discuss probable or imminent litigation under Section 2C8, as well as security procedures related to the safety of the general public and public property under Section, I'm sorry, the first was 2C11, this one's 2C8.
thank you for that prompt. I appreciate it. All right, could we have a roll call, please?
Need a motion in a
Oh,
second.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the motion in a second. Thank you. Motion, please.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Meyer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Charlot, and now the roll call, please.
Trustee Sherlow.
Aye.
Trustee Dewar.
Aye.
Trustee Markey.
Aye.
Trustee Meyer.
Aye.
Trustee Toll.
Aye.
Trustee Ankelman.
Aye.
President
All right.
O'Hare, if you give me a moment so I can lock up the building really quickly while I shut the door.
Well, right, because we're gonna, as I understand, we're gonna have to exit this venue and then go and
Re-sign in.
Come back and
Re-sign in.
the
Thank
hall
you
is
so
actually
much.
open. Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
okay.
one moment.
All right, thank you. Well, we'll all sign out of here and then re-sign into the new link for the executive committee that Glenn has given us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.